another, this one here really do it for you.
Baby, love is yours. Yeah, baby, I made love is yours. Baby, come down to love is yours. Let me show you how love is yours. Love, 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 love is yours. Love, love is yours. Love, love is yours. Love is yours. Love, love is yours.
Now it's my turn to tell y'all about my big bro Gerard and the podcast crew.
Hey, I like when that mother say podcast crew. That's like one of my favorite parts of the song, man.
He was whispering sweet nothings.
Y'all remember that old song, the rap group, the whisper? Yeah.
The whisper sounds.
Yeah. What's up, my people?
What it do?
Yo, what's up, good people?
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, right?
This is our first show. Happy New Year.
Yeah, we out here just, we missed y'all. You know, we've been laying a little low. You know, people been walking in the snow, being chased by coyotes and
Bobcats.
bobcats, and God needed his
out of water.
God needed his hair scratched for the self-care day, so we got all this snow going on. So, you know, we just want y'all to know that we are happy to be back at The Floor Is Yours.
Hey, I hate to interrupt, but look who on the screen right there. I see Angela Allen, Ladybug.
Ladybug,
Where you been all my life?
where have you been?
Yeah.
Happy New Year, sweet baby.
Yeah.
Welcome. I know you all are going to be coming in, and we're a little tardy for the party because we were kind of really conversating behind the scene, but we do apologize for our tardiness, but we want to say welcome to The Floor Is Yours. It is your crew, Flex, Ivy, the conscious creator. We have Gregory down there. You know, he's so mild-mannered and laid back and everything, you know, so together over there. And it is your girl, the inspirational chick here. So we want you to do as you always do as we welcome you to The Floor Is Yours podcast. We want you to like, share, and subscribe on all social media platforms, whether that be YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you got going on, Lemonade or some coming around. You might want to get over there and get hooked up over there too. But we are here to have a good time, and as always, we love to be here to dialogue. We are here to agree to disagree, but we still do it in love, and we gonna still be family when we leave. But yeah, come in, give a nugget, take a nugget, and you know, let's just do this thing together.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, appreciate the intro. Appreciate everybody out there. Happy New Year. Hope everybody year started off and you got those ambitious goals, you know, those ambitious goals that challenge you to be better, that challenge the people around you to be better. So stick with them. And just one thing before we get into the discussion, even if you fall off initially, you know, from your goal or the path, get back up, try it again, you know, stick with it. You know, that's the big thing about goals. You got to be committed. So, hey, just keep trying, and one day you're gonna get there. But today's topic, is it cheaper to keep her? You know, that's an old Johnny Taylor song right there when it was going through a breakup. And I guess the context of the song was like, man, when you go through a divorce, you got kids and all that child support and money going to another household. Like, it might be cheaper to keep her. But with that being said, well, we know that that's more than just financial value that you should consider in that, right? So we're talking about the emotional value, the mental toll that it can take on you and your kids. So that's what we want to start the discussion out is it cheaper to keep her? And I know my man Gregory, you know, our resident, you know, counselor and extraordinaire, has some experience in that. So I was going to let you kick off the discussion on, you know, your thought process on that. How would you lead a couple into discussing that right there? Is it cheaper to keep her?
You know, when you are deciding to end a relationship, there are a number of factors that you want to include, especially if there's children. I think, though, the biggest, most important thing to consider is this person stopping you from fulfilling your purpose? Everybody on this planet, everybody's been created by God on purpose for a purpose. And if you're in a relationship and you're connected with someone who is preventing you from fulfilling God's purpose, then it is a sign that you should not be in that relationship. And no matter how much it may hurt, how much it may pain you to leave, it's better to leave because your children deserve to see a parent that is happy, healthy, and fulfilled. The best thing you can offer your children is a healthy parent. The best thing you can be for your children is an example. And so sometimes that means you do have to walk away. And so a lot of times people are considering divorce for reasons that are fixable, i.e., finances. Finances are fixable. It's not an easy fix, but it is something that you can fix. Infidelity, I know more couples than not that have overcome fidelity. I know more couples than not that have overcome infidelity, sorry. And so that is something that you can overcome. However, I think that is it cheaper to keep her? I would say no if this person, this husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend, is not allowing you to soar and be all that God's created you to be. It's time to go. It's a wrap.
Yeah. And I like that you talked about purpose, because sometimes we get it misconstrued. You know, God-given purpose. Let me be more specific, because we can have our own purpose. And the thing is, when our purpose conflicts with somebody else's purpose or passion, you know, you can use those interchangeably sometimes. You got issues, right? So when you get in there in that discussion with couples, do you try to differentiate between a God-given purpose versus, hey, these are my personal goals that I'm passionate about?
Yeah. And not only that, but then lusts and desires. People get divorced because they have different sex drives. People get divorced because one person wants to live on the beach, another person wants to live in the mountains. So lust and desires in your flesh, those type of things are not grounds for a divorce. And even sometimes, even for grounds for biblical divorce, such as infidelity, God gives us the encouragement to even try to offer forgiveness in that situation. But I don't think that God will want you in a relationship that's preventing you from being what He created you to be. Because if you're doing that, then you're making your partner your idol and not God.
That's a good point, Ivory and I see. Y'all want to chime in on that? What if the purposes or your passions are conflicting? And you know, what are your thoughts on that based off what Gregory's talking about?
I'll agree. I mean,
No,
I experienced.
I agree.
I guess we gotta laugh. I experienced it, so I do know that it can be a very hard place to be in, because it will make you suppress who you are and the things that you know that you are called to do, because there's this tug of war. Um, and it doesn't have to be it didn't have to be in a negative way, because we could have pulled off of one another. But if one is not willing to see all of you and only see what's good for what they need you for in their capacity, then you're suffocating and you're dying slowly while you're allowing somebody else to live off of your lifeline.
Yeah, and Ivory, there's this thing called sacrifice, right? So I know you have to be in relationship sacrificing and in service to each other, but again, differentiating between a God-given purpose and then my own passions and hobbies and goals, which are important too. Like, how do you navigate your relationship and say, like, you know what, this may be a good person, and he may, or you know, in your instance, he may be good for you. Like, are you willing to sacrifice some parts of you, at least even for a season, for that relationship?
I think so. I mean, a marriage, you know, someone is always going to be willing to sacrifice at a season, but it depends on if you're always the one that's sacrificing every single time. If he's not willing to sacrifice a season for the marriage, for the relationship, then no, it's not worth it. If I'm always supporting him and his endeavors and his purpose, but he's not willing to sacrifice for me, then no, then I'm out.
Yeah. You know, Gregory, in this day and age where everybody's important and everybody, you know, there's a bunch of self-professed prophets out there that's doing the work of God. Like, I'm sure you have to deal with that, right? You got a couple coming in, and this man may feel like he is doing the work of God, but he is totally omitting his wife. And I don't think that can be true. If it's a God-given purpose, somehow, some way, I think you could potentially. Now, if it conflicts, that's one thing. But how do you have those conversations with couples, like the
You know,
mention?
there is such a thing as spiritual manipulation, where men will take bits and parts of the Bible and use it against their wives. And you do see a lot of that with men that are overly controlling. Wives should submit, the man is the head of the woman, this, that, and the other. You should do what I say. Well, that's spiritual manipulation. And so what I try to do is call that out. And so, and so being, a minister myself, I'm able to interpret the scriptures oftentimes better than the manipulator himself. And so once you expose and you put the truth out there, then it is left up to the spouse that's being manipulated, whether or not they want to receive it or not. And so all I can do in my position when I'm counseling a couple is say, here is the actual truth. Do with it what you want. Oftentimes people are so emotionally connected, they're tied financially, they have kids, they don't want to let down their parents and their community, that even when they know the truth, they still stay, but they do it to their own detriment. And to echo what the ladies have already said, they are slowly killing themselves because they don't want to accept the truth and or muster up the courage to say, I would rather live in a 1-bedroom apartment than to live with you in this mansion.
Yeah. Man, that's good. That's good. Before the discussion too, before the show, we was talking about the toll that it could take on the kids. We get so caught up in what it does to us, whether we got to stay together for the kids, or what, this is too much for me and I'm leaving and I'm not even considering the kids. And I know we've all, we made I don't know, I hesitate to call it a joke earlier, but Greg said Gregory asked, are all of us on here divorced? And I was like, dang, I guess so. But with that being said, like, when kids are involved, it's tough. And I'll say from my own experience, like, you do go harder, typically go harder and try to stay and figure things out for the kids, right? Anybody?
Well, I don't think I've ever been the one to try to figure it out, to do it for the kids, because what I learned watching other couples as a younger adult, I should say, was watching how people lived in their, the kids ended up talking more about what their parents were going through than the parents were really expressing. No, ma'am, mama, we'll call you back. We'll discuss that a little bit later. Okay, back over here. So I watched how the kids were more damaged by the parents staying instead of really talking about what was really going on. We learned, or we saw more than what they would tell us or talk about. And then we not knowing later in life, this is what we would trickle down into our own relationships. So the lack thereof really sitting down, being honest with children is the problem that I see. We don't do enough talking to say this is what's going on and this is how we're going to navigate it, and taking our feelings outside of it by being so angry at each other because it's not working with us, to say, like earlier, be healthy for the children, be healthy parents, co-parent, however you need it to be, but they need to see it in a healthy format, that they know that, hey, we may not be good together as husband and wife or spouses, but we will definitely be on one accord when it comes to being parents. And because we lack thereof communicating these things, that when times get different in our family dynamics, this is what happens, and we tiptoe around it, and then it makes it a battle or a tug of war between, oh, you got to love mommy more than daddy, or you got to love daddy more than mama, and then it's just a big mess.
That's good. That's good. And I think you're absolutely right to piggyback on what you said. A lot of times parents forget to acknowledge that children deserve an explanation as well. They deserve to know, why is my household changing? Because this is their childhood. There'll never be a child again. And it's important to answer those questions at a level of their maturity. And as they get older, you can share more and more and more. And I love what you said, I see, where you can discuss that we're going to remain good parents to you and not attack the other parent. Moms don't have to attack the dads don't have to attack the moms, and just say, listen, we think that we will be better parents for you if we live separately. And we have discovered that we would be happier, and we think you would be happier if we weren't together. And, the details about what dad did or what mom did is unimportant at that time.
I agree, understanding that. I agree with what both of them said.
I know,
but in this day, I think Ivory, you are delayed. Ivory, you want to go out and comment back in real quick, and then we'll let you jump back in on the discussion. Yeah, Ivory does have a huge.
Yeah, her eyes even blinking slow.
And we want
Yeah.
Ivy because you know she
Go
gonna
out,
bring the
go
smoke.
out and come back, Ivy.
Yeah, I think she catching up with us about 30 seconds behind. So
Okay,
yeah.
she heard us.
Yeah, so but what does that look like with the kids though? Like how do you because there is gonna be some effect on the family when you're raising them in the home, you know, in different homes. So I think we can agree with that right there. So when I'm saying not just staying there just for the sake of having kids under the same roof, but staying together, but we're also trying to fix whatever the disconnect is. And Ivory, you're back, so we'll let you go ahead and hop in on. I know you had something to add on that.
I did.
Yeah.
So just to piggyback off of what Icy was saying about just communicating with the kids, I know that when we were younger, you know, our parents ain't the kids in the business, you know, it was don't put the kids in the business. We couldn't be in the business. But I know when I was going through my divorce, I sat my kids down and I explained to them exactly like this is what's going on. It's going to be a change. I even apologize for a lot of things that I done in the marriage. Like, you know, if I ignored them, if I left them out, the changes that was going through and the changes that, you know, are going to be happening. So I kept them in the loop because I know how I felt, you know, when I was a child, when our parents didn't want us in a business all the time. And, you know, it was like, stay in a child's place. So when we went through my son was away and we had a family. I'm big on family meetings. We had a family meeting about it just so they can understand what was going on.
Yeah, that's a different dynamic too, because you're right. We do try to leave the kids out, stay out of grown folks' business, whatnot. So that is a challenge. But to your point, you do have it, and I like what Gregory said. You try to have it at the level that's appropriate for that child. And if you got kids at different ages, there might be different conversations for each child as well, right? But even that, the dynamic of bringing kids into a different home, and not to jump too far forward, or maybe two. Now you're talking about the possibility or likelihood that you're going to have blended families in the future. Do you wait until you're in that situation to even start having that thought or that discussion? Because you're going to start dating, but that's a whole different dynamic, right? Blended families, that you add that in, even if you're not married, but you're dating seriously, like that's huge.
Oh, absolutely. And that can be another situation because, of course, you know, there's a lot of things I've lived. And when you're blending families, it can be difficult. Um, and it can be hard, especially on the person that has the more loving and nurturing spirit to be willing to go forward with blending the family. And then you also have the other side of that where let's tiptoe around everything. One person in the relationship is letting their children know that this is how we're going to move forward, and there are other children involved. Let's get together, let's sit down. And the other one can be hesitant because of they don't want rebuttal from the ex spouses. So therefore, you put the person that you choose to want to go forward with in this bubble of confinement, and then it's always the tug of war. You're not their mom or you're not their daddy. That's not it. If we would just not look at it as people trying to replace anything, we should respect the fact that whoever our opposite person is, you know, exes are going into different relationships. Clearly they should be intelligent enough and mature enough to know that they're getting involved with somebody that is good for not just me personally, but for my children collectively. And most of the times we're not looking at it from that aspect. I'm just not going out here to get Jimmy John just so that Jimmy can jumpstart my battery and then my kids over here, you know, left out. It don't work like that. Not the way it was for me. But I know what it is to be in a place of feeling like you want to really love somebody else's children that you're with, to be put in this confined space of conditional confinements. And that begins to already suck the life out of you, you know, within itself. So it's nothing like being in a relationship when you're liberal and they're conservative. I'll just leave it like that.
Yeah, Gregory, that whole jump the battery
Took y'all out.
They're just earlier you talked about how discussions could go so many ways, so we ain't going to get too far in trying to explain that. But yeah, I do consider, whether or not that because some people do have that mindset, like, hey, I'm dating for me, and the kids have a mom or a dad, and they don't need this new mate to fit in that space. And I get that to a certain degree, but I mean, how realistic is that? I mean, they got to have some involvement, even just their presence means something on that relationship, right? Or the kids' relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I agree with everything you said. I think that if you love your kids, you're going to choose someone that's going to be good to your kids. I think what we also need to consider is that the child gets to see their parent as an individual and not the parent far too soon. So when we're kids, you see mom as mom and dad as dad. And when you get about your late 20s and 30s, you start seeing, oh, that's Steve and that's Mary, that's Joyce and that's Ben. You start seeing them as individuals. But when you go through a divorce, that shatters that image of this isn't just dad, but this is John, who is now dating Sarah. And when you're 12 and 13, that's far too young for that image of this is my father to be broken. And so that is an adjustment that has to be taken into consideration too. And at a young age, you kind of shatter that piece of the childhood that I have to know you now as an adult, as an individual, when I still should just be looking at you as my daddy, as my mommy. And that now that's gone and that's taken from me. And so we have to be considerate of that in those conversations with our children as well.
Yeah, that's good. You got anything to add on that, Ivory? I think there's a short delay. Yeah. Here she comes.
No,
She just
I
sitting
do.
there
I
all
agree with-
posed like she on Vogue or something.
I
like
agree
she's
with
ready
you
for a
said.
photo shoot.
I'm gonna go back out and come back in.
Okay. Hey, we're gonna get that figured out. So, hey, why she coming in, going out and come back in? We talked about even before the whole question about it's cheaper to keep her. Like, there's this huge divide, seemingly in our community between our men and women.
Yes.
And it's ugly. It is ugly, and it has helped these loose, organized groups like Red Pill, Blue Pill, and Passport Bros, where people promote the belittling of the women in our community. And for me, it's sickening. I hate seeing it, but at the same time, while not approving of the behavior, we can at the same time acknowledge that there are some men that have been hurt by the behaviors of some women. So, Gregory, this is where your professionalism gonna jump in, and let's talk about like where that divide comes from and what we can do to better it. So let's just start where it comes from.
Yeah. So this is twofold for me. Also, being a minister, I see it as an attack from the enemy. I literally do, and I'm not speaking in hyperbole. I do see this as the devil attacking marriages. I see the devil saying, if I can get them against each other, then I'm going to cripple them, and they won't have a strong foundation. And so they won't stay together. Their children will be fractured. Their children will be broken. Their societies will be broken. And now he can just attack us. And so I really think that this is spiritual warfare that we're in when we have this divide. It sickens me on a natural level, because I think that we need each other. And I say this with all honesty, like Ivory, I need you. Amisha, I need you in my life. I need the perspective of a spiritual, loving, kind woman, because I'm seeing life and doing life through the eyes of a man. I need to be able to look and and hear what another perspective is in order for me to be a well-rounded individual. And so it's important for us to live in community. The Bible tells us in the book of Genesis, it's not good for man to live alone. And so not only does that speak to marriages, but that also speaks to community. We need different perspectives. And so I think what has happened is that we have let the devil infiltrate our society. And now in society, it has become cool. It has become cool to be super and hyper independent, which is sort of a dysfunction, because hyper independence is a sign that you have not healed a wound, because you don't want to be hurt again. So anyone that's hyper independent, that says I don't need anybody, and a woman that says I don't need a man, that's not toxic in of itself, but when you won't allow a man to help you is toxic. So saying to yourself that you can do it by yourself is fine, but when you won't allow someone to help you, that is the toxic part. So supernaturally, I think it is an attack from the devil. In the natural, I think that we have just gotten so much into our own vanity and ego that we have made each other the adversary, and we have judged one bad apple to and it has destroyed the image of the whole crop.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. I see.
Well, what would you want me to chime in and say?
Oh, and he covered a lot of topics, but we were talking about this toxic divide between men and women, and you know, your perspective, because it's coming from both sides.
Well,
Yeah.
and so this is gonna be really, y'all gonna be like, what? To be honest, I really can't really chime in on it because I really don't pay a lot of attention to it. I'm just being honest at this point because I don't think sometimes we'll have discussions and be like, yeah. Now, do I hear about it a lot? I guess I'm to a place
Mhm.
that when I mature, I'm not. I just don't feed into every narrative anymore.
Mhm.
There are some good
Yeah.
men and some good women. There are some bad women and some bad. It just balances itself out. But at the end of the day, when does it really go back to self-reflection? Because if that's all I keep seeing or I'm surrounded, then something about me is attracted to that atmosphere that keeps me in it. So if I begin to do the
Mhm.
inner work to say that I don't want to live that journey anymore and that ain't a part of who I am, and I cut out the core of that toxicity that I used to entertain or be a part of, then my aroma or my fragrance don't even allow me. I felt the Holy Ghost set on me. I don't even sit in that place no more. I'm not even attracted to that side of the room no more. So I'm not going to be placed there. So now I'm not looking at every man is toxic or we can't sit down and get along and be healthy collectively together. Because first of all, I looked at me first. What did I need to figure out about me that allowed me to even be that way in the first place? And when I figured it out, or when I allow God to help me, let me add that to it. And I chose to surrender all of me to a newness of how I wanted to operate, feel, be loved, and to give that love out. Then I don't even know how that feel to be over here where we finna be rebuttaling and all of that. And Gerard will tell you, I had a friend, but it was an old friend that I had dated over 25 years ago, and I was collectively his friend. But being actually in his space to talk about it, it showed me some things, and then began to ask questions. What was it about me when I was in my 20s? Oh, you were beautiful. You had your head on straight. You had this, that, and the other. But then I was like, well, then why wasn't I worthy then? What makes it so much richer for you now to come back almost 30 years later? Because see, there's a newness about me that still may not add up to you because there's residue. I put in the work to get her. And I promise you, I ain't mishandling nothing about it. So I don't know what the toxicity lifestyle, but I wish y'all get it together so y'all can be out here holding hands. I don't know if y'all really want matching pajamas or whatever y'all want to do, but I just want to see
Yeah.
y'all around here just smiling
I
with
do.
the people that
Yeah.
can really make you happy. Just
Yeah.
get rid of it.
I
Can
think a
can
big
can you
part of
say here again for me?
Here,
Okay, thank you.
hey, the deeper south you go is her. The
girl.
Girl.
What you
Yeah.
gonna say, G?
Especially from Memphis, But hey, the thing
Yeah.
is, I like what you said. Like once you begin to carry yourself in certain expectations, if you will, and levels of maturity, I get that you don't attract that kind of thing, but that doesn't same time it doesn't make it any less real. So at the same time, I could see people avoiding you because of the light that's in you too. So and then that's probably, Gregory, if you agree with me or not, some men will now look at her like she's an issue and I don't want to have anything to do with her. Now it's
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
standard that comes with
Yeah.
it, or the level of responsibility and accountability that comes with it.
Absolutely. The only men that are intimidated by standards are the ones that can't meet them.
Say that one more time.
The only men that are intimidated by standards are the ones that can't meet them.
Yeah.
So if they can't meet the standards, then they got a problem with the standards. But then also, this whole combativeness that we have against each other, men versus women, and I especially hate it in the Black community, it becomes from We always want to listen to the side that supports our ideas. And so if we felt like we are wrong, guess what we're going to be YouTubing? Guess what we're going to be Googling for? Everything that supports our idea, instead of looking for an objective opinion. That's why therapy is so important, because you get someone who's objective and go, you know what? You're halfway right, but you're not all the way right in this particular thing. And I think we get so tied and connected to, I want to win. I want to be right. And so therefore, I am only going to listen to the information that supports my idea. And guess what? That becomes your reality. If you keep listening to the same toxicity, you become toxic as well. It transforms you from the inside out.
Yeah, and nothing makes it worse if you're a person that don't listen, or that knows it all, or refuse to even consider that it could be you. So we got Miss Ivory that's back for the 10th time, but
Don't leave Ivory alone.
It's gonna be 11 the way she's sitting.
Oh,
Don't leave
yeah.
Ivory alone.
Oh, okay, there she go. Oh, wait a minute.
Go ahead, Ivory.
Y'all
What you
leave
got
me
for us?
alone. Look, this time, look, y'all have a
Yeah.
I don't got nothing. I'm just here.
No, you're gonna sit there frozen. You're gonna just have to chime in when you get a window.
Yeah.
You ain't getting
Y'all
out.
keep the party going.
Yeah, it's good. So yeah, you know, is she stuck? Oh, that was playing. So yeah, you're right.
You know,
There's a lot of blame to go around, and but I think, you know, it starts with self, but that's not absent of shared responsibility. And I think
Right.
sometimes we try to make it an either or instead of at the same time, and it works. That's how conflict works. It's like, I don't, you're not relieved of your responsibility because I'm working on me.
Right.
Those things are
Yeah.
supposed to happen at the same time. And I think so
Come
much
on
in our
now.
society, it's always an either or versus, hey, we used to say this in the Army, let's everybody get all the way right. And that entails, one, for me to know who I am and what I need to do. But also there's some some awareness with the other person too. So at the same time, there can be some encouragement, some accountability, and talk of the shared responsibility in that relationship too. That's what I think, right?
Yeah. You know, and I also want to say a word that I know that a lot of people disagree with, but I encourage. And so I'm probably gonna catch some heat from saying this, but an ultimatum. We're talking about, is it cheaper to keep her, right? And I think this personally, I think you should do everything in your will to fight for your marriage before you walk away from it. I mean, throw the kitchen
Before you go
sink
too
at it.
far, you were specific with that statement. You say everything within your will.
Everything within your will, everything within your power, everything that you could possibly do, and within your energy and your time, you know, exhaust every possibility there is before you walk away from a marriage. I really believe that. But I also think that you should also give an ultimatum. There has to be a time limit. There has to be, listen, I'm willing to work on this hard. I'm willing to sweat and bleed and do whatever needs to be done for us to save. But if you're not working on you, if you're not going to do your own work, then I'm going to have to walk away. And I'm going to need to see some changes by X amount of time, or it's done. It's over. I'm out. And so a lot of times women feel like they shouldn't give men an ultimatum. And I say, yes, you should.
I agree with that. You know, in 1 Corinthians 13, when they talk about what love is,
Look
the
at you
King
quoting the
James
Bible.
version, yeah, man, I'm gonna get a little spiritual here. It says that love, the King James version, the New King James, it said love suffers long. And I always say this: it suffers long, but it don't suffer forever. So even Christ, it came, you know, God in the flesh. There's an expiration date on ungodliness. So my point with that is, like, I do agree with you. You know, ultimatums can be unhealthy, but I think they're case by case and when necessary. I think the other part of that too is we got to make sure that we are showing that godly patience and forbearance and mercy and grace and all that comes with it. And you know, but I do think we give up too early sometimes. And you know, you know, you can find people that are serial married people who over and over and over and over and over, you know. And but to your point, yeah, I do think that there is a time when the ultimatums should be given, right? Especially when you're talking about things that are objectively right and wrong.
Yeah, sometimes the stakes are too high. And so if someone has a gambling addiction, if someone's violent, or there's drug abuse, you know, those stakes are too high. You know, but someone not helping with the chores around the house, well, you know, that's negotiable. We can work on that. We can give that a little bit more time and patience.
Yeah.
But sometimes the stakes are too high. I can't stay in this toxicity for any longer.
Yeah, yeah. I see you want to add anything before we go to a commercial break.
No. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, man. What happened? Your sound just like got better, like the angelic voice. What happened?
That's because I'm in the vein.
Oh man, come on, stay in there. Well, let me hurry up and come to this commercial so we can come back and hope that you still in that vein. How about that?
What is my Bible? We got to bring it out today.
Your success ain't gonna happen overnight. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may even take 10 years. For some people, it might take even longer than that. But one thing I do know, as long as you keep fighting and staying consistent, you will make it. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you gonna make it?
Creed. Step in that water, step in that water, step in that water. Yeah. You gotta be willing to go out and get it. You gotta dive in it, go and get it. Step in that water, step in that water.
Step in that water, step in that water, step in that water.
Yeah,
He said you got to fight and be consistent. That's what he said.
dive in and go get it.
Well, yeah, but he said when he was talking, see, I started catching different parts of his commercial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So that's the resident barber, the official barber for the Floor is Yours podcast. The homie Miracle Hendricks out in the Colony area. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in need of a haircut, reach out to the homie Miracle. He can hook you up, get you right.
Get you right. If your eyebrows need straighten up, I'm sure you can straighten them up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I need.
Yeah. Hey, so I posed a question to y'all earlier and give you some time to think about. But we talked about again, this topic is it cheaper to keep her? But I wanted to take some step back before we even get to this toxic relationships. And I think sometimes our picker is off. And we're overlooking some things that we find out later that we should not have. So, now that hindsight is 2020, and like Gregory asked earlier, everybody on this panel is divorced, and we'll talk about that on another show. So don't judge us.
So will.
Yeah, but hey, come on with
because you know they want to know the dirt.
Yeah, don't come
No,
for us.
they up there talking about what's wrong with them. You know how black folks be talking about. Don't listen
Why
to
they
them.
can't keep nobody?
Yeah, why they can't keep nobody? But we'll talk about that. And if you
What did Gerard do?
Yeah, put the wrong comment put the wrong comment in there, I'm gonna block you. So watch what you say. Now, so the question was, what are 2 things that are like absolute no-goes, non-starters, do not even pass go with this person? So who wants to go first? 2 things that are like no-goes for y'all. Ladies first?
Well,
no.
Okay.
I'm gonna let the men take the lead. I'm learning to be a lady.
Okay, now.
I like a woman that can say the word here. That is very attractive to me. That's a nice thing.
Oh man, it's hilarious.
No. I number one have to find someone that I can laugh with. Now I'm a pretty laid back, smooth, kind of chill kind of guy. And so I actually like a woman that makes me laugh, and so a good sense of humor. Because I tend to be buttoned up a lot, and so I like someone that kind of pull me out of my shell. And so someone that I can't be silly with is definitely a deal breaker for me. And so that is number 2 would be I gotta enjoy talking to her because I enjoy talking. I'm very gregarious, and so a deal breaker for me, how I do that is if I don't enjoy talking to her on the phone, I know it's not going to work, regardless of beauty, regardless of how fine she is and everything's in the right place. If we're on the phone with each other and I am bored and not interested, then I know it's a wrap. It's not going to work. And so she has to be funny and I have to enjoy talking to her.
Yeah.
And it goes without saying that we have to share the same faith, but yeah, a good sense of humor and a good talker.
Yeah, that's good. And then of course there's other things. So we just asked for 2 because I'm sure that list could get long, right? Yeah, more seasoned we are, we get a less tolerant of some things. So I get it. But Miss IC, what you got for us?
Yeah, if you can't communicate and you can keep my attention, then it's a no. And you definitely you really have to be able to hang in there with just me being who I am. If you can't accept all of me, just quirky, in the vein, living for Jesus and drank a little. I had to throw my little picture down.
A
But
little
yeah,
wine.
just simply being, if you just can't allow me just enjoy me being myself and be free. I just want to be able to be just free with the person now. But if you ain't got that, if we can't laugh and communicate, I just ain't in it no
That's
more.
good. That's good.
And
And
like
that's
you said, you just asked for two, but definitely faith
yeah.
is there. But we don't always have to throw that as the top. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's just as a person, just yeah.
Yeah, and I can see that knowing both of you, I can see why the two that you picked are definitely important for you. It goes with y'all's personalities and what you're passionate about. So, good thing. And the audience, I should have asked you first if there are something that's a deal breaker or a straight no go for you to keep you from entering a relationship. Put it in a comment. We want to read them off and address them. But for me, I got two, and the first one is being argumentative. Like an argumentative woman. You know, there's that Bible verse that says it's better to be on the roof than under the roof with a argumentative or a quarrelsome wife.
It's better to live in the corner of a roof than to live
Corner
in the
of a
home
roof.
with a quarrelsome wife. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's you know, that we can go a lot of ways with that, but I'm just thinking what that's the spirit of a person that's argumentative or quarrelsome or just like the goat. It's going to come with a lot of drama. And I wrote a couple of notes here. I said an argumentative person is disagreeable, like you just constantly being challenged on something just because of GP. I've witnessed people disagree with someone because it's that person, but will literally agree with somebody else on it, right? But they disagree with their mate on it. So that they're disagreeable. And another that comes with that is their lack of awareness, right? They argue and it's like, hey, I'm challenging you. And they're not even aware that their behavior is such a turnoff that they bring it and they even boast about it as if it's a good thing. So that lack of awareness about what their behavior does. And those people are mean. Typically, right? They're mouthy, they're mean, they condescending towards people, and they call themselves blunt, like, hey, I just speak my mind or whatnot. But you know, I've witnessed that some argumentative people are mean and they can be very manipulative. So, you know,
Gerard, do you see a difference between a woman that's loud and a woman that's argumentative?
absolutely, you can be loud. You know, I know some people that sing well and they got a strong voice, you know, so just that, or they just might have an outgoing personality. So, you know, yeah, I think it can be, they don't have to be the same, but argumentative, like, you know, you being challenged every time you know, especially in front of people, like it's just not healthy. And my second one, so that was the ones that are linked to being
Oh
argumentative.
Lord, you had a whole spiel.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
yeah,
let's
man, I
go
thought
there.
about this one.
Yes, you did.
I'm glad
Hey,
you
listen,
thought about it.
transparent moment. Me and my therapist talked about this a while ago. So, but another one is one that can't accept critique. Like if you cannot accept critique, like you need to live by yourself on the corner of a roof. You know, like that scripture said.
Oh,
Yeah.
But,
not in the house by yourself, but the corner of the roof.
The roof, yeah.
yeah, but not.
Yeah.
So my notes on that, not being able to accept critique makes them like a walking ticking time bomb. Like they're about to blow up. Anytime that you try to tell them that something is wrong, man, they on edge. So get ready for them to blow up. They lack responsibility and accountability too. I've said before that responsibility and accountability is like close relatives to each other. You can't have true accountability if someone don't feel that they're responsible for the health or shared responsibility for the health of that relationship. So when you see people that you can't hold, that's not accountable, they don't feel that their responsibility in that relationship is such that they're going to fall in line and do what they need to do. But they're going to tell you that what you're responsible for and try to hold you accountable. So that's that piece right there. And also that part of the health. Yeah. So that's it. Two things.
I want to change my answers now. You don't went deep on it.
Man, come with it, man. Come with it.
Well,
Hey,
the thing about it is, it's amazing how the flex can go real deep because he's had really more thought process. But he likes to make us have this power moment right there. And that's how he does this. And we appreciate him for that.
Hey,
Hey,
we do. We appreciate you.
yeah.
I,
Hey, but real
I
quick,
can,
we're gonna get to the audience. We're gonna let you go, Gregory, and then we're gonna get to some of these comments from the audience. So,
a deal breaker for me is a disrespectful woman.
Mm.
And I've learned that as a giver, like myself, I'm very self-sacrificing, that I can easily be taken advantage of when
Oh.
someone is a manipulator. And I've learned now as I've matured, I don't like to say as I get older, but as I mature, I've learned to see those red flags of someone who's a manipulator, someone who's a taker, and since I'm a big giver. And so a woman that is disrespectful with her words and in her
Mm.
actions, I have now have been bestowed the gift of goodbye. So the first time I see the red flag, it's goodbye. I don't wait. I don't negotiate. I don't procrastinate. I don't hesitate. I just walk away from a woman that's disrespectful because I deserve better than that. I've learned my value, and so a woman that tries to disrespect me, it's done immediately. The second thing will be someone who's non-partnering, and so I want a wife that I can build a life with, and so someone that says, hey, when I tell her, hey, sweetheart, listen, I don't think we can take a vacation this summer because we want to take this money and put it toward our kids' college fund, put it in our IRA, or we want to pay off the car instead of going on this vacation. I want her to see that I'm trying to operate as the leader and as someone who has the best intentions and not be combative, as Gerard was saying earlier, but someone who's willing to say, listen, we are one team with one vision, and whatever it is that makes that vision work, I want to be in alignment with that. And so I need someone who is
yeah,
partnering as well. So a
that's
disrespectful
good.
woman and one that's not partnering, it's a wrap.
So,
Don't even DM me.
so let me ask you this with the partnering part. So the
Yeah.
vision has been laid. You say that you was like, oh, we can't spend this money because I want to put it over here to better the kids, the household. And she came back with, I respect that. However, there's a part of that I've been saving for us personally to do this. Would you now allow her to do it from her end that didn't affect you moving forward with how you still wanted to be done? Because it was still being a helpmate in the situation, didn't navigate from taking away from what you already have in line. But she also has something on, she's also a part of the process where she has saved or she's financially in the right place and it doesn't take away from the team building, but she's still adding to the team to still be able to fulfill life and do things with you as a partner.
Mm.
Absolutely. And she's
Okay.
getting a foot rub that night. You
But
know
on
what
a
I'm
new
saying?
level. He say on a
I'm
new
running.
level.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
running.
Gregory,
Because
I
I'm running the
definitely
sometimes we
bath
don't
water.
we only hear from that
yeah,
angle of what the man is saying, and I respect that. However, there is a part where the Bible says the woman is a helpmate, and she helps more than just saying, oh, he pays all the bills and he does all that. She helps in other
yeah,
areas too. She respects the vision, she sees it, she goes along with it. However, she navigates over here to say we can still enjoy life together while you still
yeah.
navigate us through this journey of purpose and destiny.
Yeah, that's good. I
Yeah.
think Greg was
Yeah.
saying too. We talked about this that we leaders don't mean rulers. So
Yeah.
yeah, we devise a plan. But I think it was you that said that she's like the CEO. If I'm the CEO, she's like the COO, right? And we're trying to figure
Yeah.
this thing out together. So hey,
Yeah.
we got a lot of good comments. Let's get to some of these comments before we run out of time. We got one from Miss Chastity. Miss Chastity
Hey,
Nicole. I'm
Chastity.
trying to get her on the podcast. She does a lot of have a lot of good dialogue on her page. So maybe we'll get her on here one day. But she said no one is holding them accountable for their behavior. So we was talking about the whole responsibility and accountability and toxic behavior from that mate. So absolutely agree with that one. I'm gonna let IC take this one from Run and speak on that.
He says, if I can't laugh with you and you are disrespectful, I get it and I agree with it. Because there is also scripture. I'm not the Bible scholar, but I do remain, because it's amazing how God, when He commanded it to be done in relationships, He commanded the woman the woman to respect and the man to love. So why was it given just like that? Because truly the woman, we know how to love, we know how to nurture, but somewhere we definitely lack the respectful part of it. So that when I began to read that one, that was a big eye opener for me. Why was it justified that way? And then why was the man commanded to love? Because there had to be some type of hard exterior about him. This is just paraphrasing in my mind, of his heart and things like that, to break down walls and to to be able to be helped. Because of course, if God gave him control over everything and he was used to tending everything and he got this mate, could he accept somebody that could say, you know what, baby, if you won't come home, if you don't make it home tonight at 9, I can take out the trash, without saying you shouldn't do that. I just always look at it, I'm still helping. I'm not too good to help in that capacity. So yeah, that's all I got to say. So being disrespectful, laughter is so good in relationships.
Oh yeah,
When I
it
tell you,
is.
if I come in the
Yeah.
door and take my shoes off at the front and I just have a song in my head, you know me, I pop out with songs all the time. I found you, Miss New Booty is my favorite. If I come here and dance like, baby, it's been a good day, can we just swing across the floor real quick and then we'll talk about how the day was. It's that type of stuff that just makes it just so much. And if I'm doing these with these plants I got, I know my partner gonna have a good time because I talk to my plants and love on them before I go to work. So it's just about nurturing, laughing, and just being respectful of people's feelings and their dreams and their visions, and just them in general as a person, just a human being.
Yeah, that's good. Gregory, I'm gonna let you take this one right here from Miss Chastity as well.
Me?
Gregory, yeah.
People that are disrespectful don't even respect themselves. There should be no expectation from them to be different. I agree. You know, you must love yourself first before you can love someone else. Because when you know your value, you're able to see the value in others. And a person that truly loves themselves will carry themselves with a standard that they don't want to be looked less than their highest and best self. And so you're absolutely right. People who don't love themselves don't know how to love you back because they don't know what it takes to be loved. They don't know the joy that comes with being loved. They don't know how much we've had to work to get to the point that we can look in the mirror and actually love the person that we see looking back at us. And so if they haven't went through that journey, then there's no way that tree is gonna bear any fruit.
I like that you said they don't have that joy, especially that internal joy. You're right. So a lot of time they're acting out from what they're battling with, even on their inside. So they might put up the facade or the look that they are all about self and they're truly loving their self. But you peel back the layers of that onion, you'll find out that there is a lot of that they're lacking even for self, and they don't have it to give either. So appreciate that. I see this one for you from Miss Ladybug.
Is it cheaper to keep her or him? No, it's not, because it's not only costing you money, but your time and most importantly, your frame of mind. Now, if I could give like clap like that, you heard me? I clap like that. I have that right there was a part of the last place I was, I promise. And when I felt like I was in a flatlining, losing all of me and my mind and just me, that was the biggest eye opener for me. And then I even found myself trying to compromise it in the end, like, oh, I can do it, or I can still there, because it wasn't any infidelity or anything like that. Not so on the surface. But when it ain't about the money, it's about basically you. If it's gonna cost me, and I got to die, and you going over there living, no. I promise you, I'm not in that place no more, baby. You will be over there looking like almost a crackhead, because I promise you, the life will dwindle out of you before I breathe it back, because I'm not doing that ever again in my life. That was that's just it's a lot. It begins to affect you mentally, spiritually, emotionally. It just really drains you, and you really have to. And if people are not strong enough or rooted in a faith base, it will be a long journey to come up out of that, and you will almost feel like you don't even know who you are anymore. And so if it's gonna cost me, I'm betting on me. I promise you that. I'm never disappointing me ever again. I will not fail me. I'm not letting me down. Not for a relationship that's not going to breathe life back into me. No, it's a no. It's a
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. And to echo what you just said, I don't care who I lose in my life ever again, as long as I don't lose myself.
Man, let's put that on a t-shirt right there. I like that one. Hey, so Gregory, you was talking about earlier about the Genesis verse, so we're gonna let you address this one from Miss Chastity.
White people, helpmate, partnership, team, us, and we. Absolutely. You know, I think in the book of Genesis, God gives us the best example of what courting should look like and what a marriage should look like. God first created man. He gave man a job or mission or assignment in life, and then he gave him a helpmate to do it. And so women, when you're looking to choose a man, make sure, verify, check, does he have a mission and assignment that he is working on? He may not be there yet. Like his dream may be to be a barber, and he's working at this shop with someone else, but he wants to own his own barber shop one day. He's got plans and he's got it all laid out. Does he have something he's working toward? Does he have a goal in mind? Those are the type of men that you're looking for, because a wife is someone that, we've all heard this before, she comes along and she makes whatever you give her better. And so men that have a vision, the wife just makes the vision even better. And so men, when you're looking to choose a wife, choose someone that's going to accelerate your speed, that is going to expand your thought. That's why I said earlier, I need the two ladies on this panel in my life, because I need a woman's perspective so that my eyesight can be expanded, and that I can accelerate the speed on the mission and assignment that God has given me. And so women accelerate the plan, no doubt about it. And so, but women, you first must find a man that has a plan that you can attach yourself to.
Yeah, I think it was Miles, Dr. Miles Monroe, the late great Miles Monroe. He said what Chastity just said here. Yes, women multiply. Absolutely. And you go through that with Proverbs 31, and you see it all through there, how she is really, putting her hand, divine hands at work to just to grow the family. So
yeah, but it also talk about that foolish one as a warner to tear the house up. So he gave us two different types of them, just depending on which one we is.
Yeah. So let both of y'all talk.
Which one we is? Did you say which one we is? Okay, just check.
You heard her. You heard her. Hey, so we're gonna let both of y'all respond to this one from Tash. She said it's so good to have these healthy boundaries and realistic expectation. I like that she put healthy boundaries. Realistic expectations. Because sometimes we come in with these boundaries that's fitting for us, and they're unhealthy. I know what I want. I know what I deserve, and I know it. And I'm like, what about the other person too? So I like that she put healthy on it and realistic expectations. And we was talking to some friends a few days ago about the realistic expectations. And I was saying that in the context of not that the expectations can't be met, but have we put in the work necessary to get to those expectations? So I'm gonna let both of y'all talk about this right here. It is good to have these healthy boundaries and realistic expectations.
I say yes, and I think what I think this is a broader statement that the way we're speaking of on tonight, that we normally don't talk about it in this capacity in a healthy way. So it does matter when the divorced people can finally see the light and figure this thing out, that we can come back and be able to have these dialogues. So it is very necessary for healthy boundaries and realistic expectations, because we've been so groomed, whether that's in church, people that we've seen married, anything on TV, whatever. These things do come in and give us a blurred vision or obscure our vision on the way we should see how relationships are, instead of really just talking about the journey of what we've been through. And if we just keep it real, everything ain't peaches and cream all the time. Everything ain't a blessed and highly favored day. We have it, but being realistic about it, being from a healthy place, I promise you, it's gonna breed something beautiful.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that is good. I think it's important for everyone to understand and know, as far as boundaries go, what nourishes you and what is destroying you. And so we create these boundaries so that we are not being destroyed in the process of trying to love on you. I'm trying to love you through your sickness, and then I'm getting, sick too, just by being in your proximity. And so you have to establish, okay, look, if I go any deeper in this with you, then I'm going to be destroying myself. And so you have to have those boundaries, even within the marriage. You got to be able to say, this is as far as I go with you on this journey. You're going to have to now pick up your own mat and start walking for yourself going forward. Realistic expectations. Yeah. You know what? I love what you just said, I see, because every day it's not going to feel like you're on a honeymoon. There's going to be, and a lot in marriage. And I feel I have a lot of couples that get a little worried about their marriage, because a lot of marriage, here's a reality check, a lot of it is boring. A lot of days it's just take out the trash. Did you order dinner? Who's going to do the dishes? Who's going to put the kids? A lot of it is not exciting, but that's realistic. That a marriage every day is not going to look like a love scene from a movie. Some days it's just Wednesday. It's just Wednesday, and it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's normal. And so a lot of people who have expectations, every day he's going to bring me flowers, every day she's going to rub my back. You're setting yourself up for a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna add to this because we can talk it. We're talking about two different levels of marriage too, where we do start. It's us, and then you bring in the kids, and that may change, and then the kids get grown, and now it's back to just me and you. When it get back to just me and you, and all the kids gone,
Then what?
call me Stella.
Okay, get your groove back.
And I'm not saying him being a younger man. I'm just saying there's gonna be just a whole. That's when you should really be able to just be freely yourself. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. It shouldn't be no being over here being shame and timid. That's your whole husband and wife. If you go out to a dancing and you want to bump and grind, that's your husband and that's your wife, and you don't have to be ashamed of that.
You don't
You
have
gave
to.
it to Jimmy and Jane back in the day when we was unsaved. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. So audience, keep the comments coming, but this is my favorite part of the show. You know, where we ask and we petition Miss Inspirational Chic to give us some good words of inspiration. You know, wrap up the show discussion and come like give us just something good to take away from this.
Certainly, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're so agreeable.
Yeah, say less, you know. Like I have really put in the work to where I am now. Because you could do a lot of rebuttals with your brothers. Like we could do that, you know. I've learned to really sit down to listen and to absorb and to understand, and it not always see it from my perspective, that my way was not always right, and it is not always right. And that's across the board in friendships, especially even with my children. It's a beautiful thing when you can look at how you have to do this across the board when it's you know cheap to keep. Is it cheap to keep with my children? But we only look at it from that. There's a lot of richness that we all hold, but so many times we devalue relationships on how we handle people or how we let people handle us. All I'm saying is anything that's going to cause you to even have to think about, is it cheaper to keep him or her? Then there's already a question there. I don't want to have to put that in a debatable space anymore. I just know that there is a newness that we can all find, but it definitely is. It basically is just interpersonal work and how you're choosing to work with the people in conversations that you're around. If something is a disagreeable moment, is that a cause for you to just say no, or you shut down? Will you discuss it? Even if we're not going to go any further, can I have a voice? I've learned that my voice is important. I respect that I have it, and I will be seen and heard in a respectful manner in a healthy place, but I will no longer let my life be diminished for the sake of a relationship either. If that's going to take away from me, then I've learned to really be to walk in a place of being strong and standing who I am, because I won't say walk alone, because Jesus is with me all the time. But when you physically have no one there, can you be able to sit in your own thoughts and understand that life can be beautiful with other people, but you definitely have to be in a place of peace with yourself first. You definitely have to be able to say, you know what? Can I sit in my thoughts? Can I really understand myself? Can I look at myself and say I'm proud of where you are now? Or can I say there's some work that I need to do before I enter into any space with any person in a relationship? So all I'm going to say, if it's like I say, is it cheaper to keep him or her? It is more valuable to work on yourself and to love you. When you find the richness of you, I promise you it will bring great wealth to every relationship that you have. If you find the richness of who you are, it will add value to every area of your life, and you will watch things excel too, almost like the stock market. I mean, sometimes it'll take a dip, but I promise you we can get to the highest point of the market that it can be when you put the value first in yourself and learn how to navigate that in every part of your relationship. So the richness starts with you. And when you find the richness in yourself, the wealth will come across the board in every area of your life. So that's all I have for tonight.
Man, snap some fingers, man. Hey.
Snap your fingers.
Hey, Gregory, I want to direct your thoughts and what your partner is going to be, Gregory. But something that stood out from IC and asking, maybe you can expound on that from your perspective. But she said, can you ask certain questions of yourself? Can you be stronger, more patient, more forgiving? And I said it because if you can't find those things in yourself, you're going to start to look for those things and force your mate or whoever else is in that circle to be those things for you. Right? Do you agree with that?
I totally agree. I think the toughest person you ever have to fight in your life is yourself. You
Yeah.
have to be, and to be honest with yourself, it is a very difficult thing, and to acknowledge that it is your fault that you are where you are, because we are so prone to want to point the finger at everyone else, and to be able to have the maturity and the mindset to say, no, you owe yourself an apology. You wouldn't be here if you would have did what you were supposed to do. You have growth to do in this area. They didn't leave you because they were a bad person. They left because you weren't showing up as your best and highest self. It is on you. And definitely, I think if is it cheaper to keep her? Here's the deal. You got to add up the cost. What is it costing you
Mm,
to stay in this relationship? What are you missing out on? What are you losing if you were to stay here? Here's the difficult question you got to ask. If the person I am with does not change, never changes, could I be happy? If 5 years from now they're the same person, 10 years from now they're the same person, will I be happy? If my partner never changes, will I be happy? Add up those costs: 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of being on this treadmill. Then you'll know if it's cheaper to keep her. Then also, I also said earlier that you should want to fight as hard as you can for as long as you can for your marriage. But you have to know when enough is enough. And I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me on that, but I think there's a time when you have to acknowledge that what I'm fighting for isn't worth the fight. Because if I'm the only person fighting for this, then I'm fighting a losing battle. Because we have to be in this fighting together, not fighting each other, but
mm,
fighting for the marriage. We fight not against flesh and blood. So my partner is not my enemy. My
Man.
partner and I should be fighting for this marriage together. I'm never going to fight my wife. I am never going to fight my wife. But I will fight the devil for my wife. I will
mm,
fight the world for my wife. I will fight my job, my family, everyone else for but I will never fight my wife. And because she is not the enemy. And then you also have to consider, if we are not making each other better, then we are wasting each other's time. That is the privilege and that is the purpose of relationships, to enhance and to expand your world. And so if being in relationship with me and you are not becoming a better person, then I'm wasting your time. And I don't want to do that, because the privilege you should have when being in a relationship with me, it should be you're thinking different, you're eating different, you're traveling different, you're laughing different. It should be an expansion of your world. And if I'm not doing that for you, then I'm wasting your time, and it's not cheaper to keep me. It's time for you to move on so that you can continually grow and flourish to be with someone else. Um, yeah, that's what I got. I'm gonna end
Man, I
it right
like the
now.
way you coined that. You talked about you not being the great person, but we know that's not true. These people on this panel, even though we all been divorced, man, we great people, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful
Hey,
people.
I wanted to chime
We
in
are
because
the prize.
I
We
was
are
gonna
the
say this
prize.
earlier
What's up?
about, I'm no longer I know how to do me. I'm ready for wee. And then Chastity, she came up here and said, I was like, okay, God, you was in
Oh
my
yeah,
head. Somebody put it on there. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
wee situation and wee.
yeah. We got a lot of good comments, and my part is just real simple. It was a post I made a while ago, but it says if you pray for a spouse, don't pray for a specific person. Pray for someone loyal and honest that you can grow with. Don't pray for a big house and a fancy car. Pray for a home and transportation that meets your family needs.
Mm,
Don't pray for a six-figure salary. Pray for the means and wisdom to financially provide for you and your loved ones. The issue with praying for specific things is this: praying for specific things can cause us to put blinders on and limit God's favor. If God has given his blessing, if what God is given, if it don't meet what we expect, we're going to reject it. So I
mm,
would just say whatever that you're praying for, again, I don't want to tell people how to pray, but just be careful about praying for specific things, because God can literally bless you with everything that you need, but because it's not what you want, you reject it. So
mm,
just be mindful of that when you petition God for his best.
Mm.
He said that he will satisfy our needs according to Christ Jesus. There's riches in Christ Jesus. That don't mean that he won't give you a lot of your wants too, but he did promise you to give you your needs. So something to think about.
yeah, and with that being said, shout out to our own co-host, Cookie, Coach
Oh, yeah.
Cookie, has gotten her not just a babe, she has gotten her a husband.
Yeah,
So
he
she
changed their
is
last name.
to Kelly, baby. She is
Wow.
Kelly. Miss Kelly, congratulations from the
Yeah.
group.
Yeah, congratulations to Miss Cookie. Yeah. Got another comment right here from Chastity said, once you conquer me, you can graduate to we. Okay. I like that. Hey,
Remember, that's what I was telling you. I was saying when I saw that, I was in my head, or I was gonna say it earlier about, honey, I'm past
Hey.
me. I'm top. It's time for wee.
So that's two t-shirts then. Can we do both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then Ron was talking about Gregory earlier when about being boring. He said boring saves money.
No, you just tight.
Oh man, this was fun. I hate that Ivory was having technical difficulties.
Yeah, we
she
gotta get
always
her out the
do.
woods or something.
Yes.
We gotta get her some AT&T
Yes, she
fiber
always-
or something.
Yeah, Ivory always
You
brings
verse
a
or
unique
something.
perspective that enhances the discussion. So we're gonna have to
Yeah.
get that figured out. But Gregory, this is where you close us out, and man, we'll see the people next time.
And thanks
Hey,
for
guys.
the stars, Chastity.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Dope.
Absolutely. You know, everybody, hey, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us. We know that the most valuable possession that you have in life is your time. And so we take it as a privilege that you decided that you want to spend your time with us. And we hope that we bless you because your presence is a blessing to us. And again, I say this all the time. If there's anything you want us to talk about and chop it up about, let us know in the comments. And so, hey, we will bring the heat. Whatever topic you want us to talk about, we are here for it to bring it to the floor. So we can talk about, listen, today, is it cheaper to keep her? At the end of the day, you have to add up your own costs and you have to decide, in this one privilege of life that I have, is this the person that I feel like is going to make it worthwhile? That is the question only you can answer for yourself. You know in your heart of hearts, this is the one or this is not the one. And I encourage you to have the courage to do what's best for you, so that when you see Jesus face to face, he can say to you, well done, that you did what you're supposed to do, and welcome on, and you're welcome in. And we appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. We're going to be back with some more heat. Every time we come, I want you to call your mama, call your daddy, call your grandpa, call Pookie, call everybody, your coworkers, let them know to tune in, because we about to turn up this year. 2025, the best is still yet to come. We just getting started, people. You haven't seen the best yet.
And that was Greg, not Gregory.
That is
He was all
Gregory. That
gangster.
is right. That's right. I'm quick to
Another dude
correct
here
somebody.
really do it for you.